Greetings! I am Herbert and today I will do a quick review of some 4Ground 15mm laser cut buildings. Here you can see the very good full colour instruction sheet, complete with nice propaganda posters and signage included. These pre-painted kits come nicely flat packed in plastic bags. The pieces are cut excellently and for the most part are very easily removed from the sprue. They do sometimes fall out though, so care should be taken while handling them. The instructions recommend using PVA glue for assembly, but I'm a rebel and I used super glue instead to speed up the process. As with any model kit, you should check that the pieces fit before gluing, especially if your glue bonds quickly. It is a good idea to use a part without glue to line up the walls so that you can glue them on nice and square. I imagine that walls at odd angles will cause many headaches later. All assembly is a quite simple matter of first placing the inner walls and then attaching the outer walls, and this can be done quite quickly. Just be sure that you're using the correct parts. There are a couple of mislabeled pieces in my kits, and though it was quite obvious where those parts belonged, caution should be exercised. You may find that the small pegs that hold the different levels of the buildings together are a little tight fitting, causing big gaps or preventing the pieces from separating easily. I took care of this by filing down the sides of all the pegs. I found all of the kits I put together needed this, though I don't really consider it to be a major issue. Some of the roof parts were a little tricky, particularly on the damaged shops shown here. It required quite a lot of filing to get the uppermost floor to sit flat without huge gaps. Again, a minor issue, but kind of annoying. Something I quite liked about these kits are the sections of exposed brickwork. I think it looks really cool and adds a lot of realism. The parts can be a little fiddly to put on, and you will need to pay close attention to the instructions, numbers on the sprues, and the shape of the parts, but they are well worth the effort. I also like that the doors are separate pieces, as it allows you to model them open. You could also make them look as though they'd been kicked in, or omit them completely. Here are the 4 kits that I built. The first one is Damaged Shop Type 2. I enjoyed building this one, and the only real problem I had with it was that the roof curved upwards a little bit because of how I glued the separating walls together. Also, the little window thing sticking out from the roof doesn't fit very well. I quite liked that they chose only slightly different colours for either side. According to the instructions, it has a 4G skill rating of 4. The second one is called Damaged Shops. This is the one I filmed myself building, and it was the one I had the most problems with, namely the ill-fitting roof. Though in the end I think it did turn out pretty good, and I'm happy with it. This one also has a skill rating of 4, and the instruction sheet includes extra signage for above the window in both English and French. This one is called Northwestern European Semi-Detached Damage House Type 1. Doesn't it just roll off the tongue? I think the green is a kind of odd colour, but it's not awful. This is the first of the lot that I built, and you can probably see that I had some trouble with the exposed bricks, but nothing too serious. The roof attaches oddly over the windows, and it was a bit tricky to keep straight, but I think it looks interesting. It has a skill level of 5, but I think it was easier to build than the Damaged Shops. And finally, Damaged Semi Type 3. This is my favourite of the 4 kits, and it was the easiest to put together. I have no complaints about it at all. It all fits together very nicely, and it looks really good. Even the exposed brickwork presented me with no hassles, though perhaps this was due to all the practice I got on the previous 3 kits. It also has a rating of 5, and again, the damaged shops were more perilous. These buildings are perfect for games like Flames of War. On each of my kits, the rooms could hold either a single medium infantry base or 2 small ones, as you can see capably demonstrated here by some of my Soviets. You could probably fit small tanks in some of the damaged sections for sneaky ambushes as well. I don't have any comparable buildings from other manufacturers to show next to these, so I've just set up a small scene here to illustrate their scale. Overall, I think these are awesome kits, pretty easy to build and they look really nice. Being able to separate the floors for games is a really great feature. The laser cut detailing is very nice, though I do feel they look a bit sparse. I plan to rectify this and add a bit more interest to them by adding debris like fallen structural timbers and smashed furniture. I'll also use the propaganda posters that came on the instruction sheets, and do a little bit of additional painting to add variety and weathering, though this sort of thing is absolutely not required. While these models are not particularly cheap, ranging from about 25 to 50 Australian dollars, if you're looking for buildings for your 15mm scale war games, I would not hesitate to recommend them. I think they're well worth the price and I'll be buying more. I'm Herbert Herberterp. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.